How's it going, lads? And welcome to the Chelsea versus West Ham preview live stream. Today I've got Blue Lions TV. Hello.
Hello guys, as you probably know, I do Chelsea videos by the title. If you want to check my channel, it'll be in the description below. I mostly do transfers, but just everything Chelsea related you can find over at my channel. So it's a pleasure to be on, and yeah.
Yeah, as he said, lads, you can go check him out. He's going to be in the description. Definitely go check him out. He does daily transfer videos. They're very good. I really do recommend them. Now, West Ham. Definitely a very scary opponent, I guess. They've gotten better over the years now. I think last year it was the breakthrough season for them. They were absolutely fantastic. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think a lot was the verdict was quite out on West Ham after Big Sam left, and people were kind of worried about Bilic. So opinions were quite divided on whether Big Sam actually did a good job there or not. I think he built a very good, starting squad, almost as we saw with Martinez when he took over from David Moyes at Everton. And I think when Bilic came in, people were quite sceptical to see how good he could actually do. But just judging by last season, it was completely electric. Of course, Payet was reportedly, picked because Bilic knew the player himself. And I just think in general, West Ham have come on in leaps and bounds. There's no denying that they performed very good last year. Now, in saying that, a lot of teams did underperform. So I'm wondering now that we've seen the bigger teams strengthen, how they're going to fare this season. But I think we certainly shouldn't underestimate just how good they are when we come and play them tomorrow.
Yes, definitely. I want to actually highlight what you said before. Payet last season was very underrated. And wow, he did fantastic things for West Ham last season. He scored, I can't remember how many goals, but most of them from free kicks, kind of like Willian, I guess. But, absolutely fantastic. That's probably the main player. Now, they have signed Ayew from Swansea, and we've seen what he could do last season in the first game. It was his debut against Chelsea. So let's hope, and he did also score, so let's hope he doesn't replicate things. But so I think great signing Ayew and Faguli on a free. So they've definitely bulked up their midfield. And Carroll always seems to score against us. And, generally the team is very good, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, just like you said, and they've got a lot of flair. I think two things we need to really watch out for this game. And if I was Conte, I'd be telling players just this. Firstly, like you said, we cannot be giving away any free kicks because Payet, doesn't matter if it's 20 yards out or 40, he'll put it in a good area or put it in the top corner. And I think another thing that we need to really speak about here is, I wonder, and of course we're going to get on to predicted lineups a little bit later, but if Ivanovic plays, he might have a really difficult time against, the pacey wingers. Like you said, Ayew is coming in. So it's going to be very interesting. But really, there's going to be a big aerial threat there from Andy Carroll if he starts, because like you said, he always seems to score. And they've got so many flair players who are really good at getting that ball into the box, and a lot of, obviously, set-piece specialists in Dimitri Payet.
Yes, definitely. Now, here's the thing. I'm actually going to highlight 3 players that I think could really give us some trouble. Now, this player is very underlooked. In my opinion, I really rate Ogbonna. Now, this may seem like a shock, but Ogbonna really reminds me of like sort of Zuma. That big guy you really need to, with a lot of strength, you really need to give him a battle to get the ball off him. Maybe sort of like Koulibaly. In my opinion, I would actually go for him, but obviously we're not going to go for him. And no, but I think it's really like that one player. Really, again, it really reminds me of Zuma. So I think we're gonna have trouble with him. Obviously, Payet, everyone knows he's the danger man. He's gonna really cause us some trouble. But I do want to highlight Faguli. They got him on a free, as I said, and I think apparently I've talked to my friends and that live in Spain, and they're saying Valencia have been nothing without Faguli. They can't do anything with. Apparently, he's a key man. So. Hopefully, it doesn't really work out with West Ham, but Faguli, I really think he could do something against us.
Yeah, well, according to different sources, I mean, I haven't really touched up upon like West Ham's preseason because obviously I'm a Chelsea fan, but I have heard he's been very promising so far during preseason. So yeah, he certainly does seem to be a key member. Of course, any FIFA players out there, I know him from FIFA. So he's pretty good on there. But of course, we're going to have to worry about him. And Payet, that we don't even need to touch upon that. We know how good he is. And going back to Ogbonna, of course, he, I think, is he played for Italy in the Euros. So Conte might know a little bit about him when it comes to his weaknesses as such, because obviously Conte was the Italy coach at the Euros, so I think that's worth touching upon as well.
Yeah, so definitely. Now, I think it's so important that I don't know if I'm overestimating this, but I think it's Kante. The N'Golo Kante is the perfect player we've got. I think he can. I hope he can deal with the players such as that three-man midfield that they've just got for Gulli, Ayew, and Payet. That's going to be very difficult. But I think Kante, with those interceptions, those tackles, I think he could do very well against them. That's where the game's going to be won and lost. So hopefully we can get a good lineup. Now, I think we should maybe go on to lineups. So have you got anything in mind?
In terms of Chelsea, of course, I think we should work from the back forward here. So we'll start with the goalkeeper and defence maybe, and then take it from there. And I think, as far as goalkeeper is concerned, Thibaut has to start in nets, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, Thibaut.
Yeah. But in terms of the back four, this is quite interesting because we've seen a lot of players go out on loan. We've seen, Pape get sold to Sunderland. We've seen Baba Rahman go out on loan to Shaka. Hector and Miazga both look like they're on the way out as well. So really, we're not really flush in that area. We know that we need reinforcements. So in terms of the two centre backs, for me, we don't really have much option to go John Terry and Gary Cahill. But what I want to ask you is, should we go with John Terry and Cahill, or should we go with John Terry and possibly Ivanovic, or Cahill and Ivanovic? Because we know that whenever Ivanovic came into the club, he was initially a centre back, and maybe he would be stronger in that role than on the right side, where he could get exploited with lack of pace.
Well, I do think that's a good idea, but in my opinion, I see Terry and Cahill doing very well, since Cahill is a good player, but never on his own. I don't think Cahill and Ivanovic will work. He needs, obviously, Ivanovic's experience, but he needs that great player experience that can tell him what to do, tell him where to stand. I think really Terry and Cahill have a very good relationship. So in my opinion, that's what's going to work. Ivanovic, yes, it could work, but I think he's played at right back for so many years, and I'm not too sure about that. Last season he did have some hiccups at the back. So for me, it's more going to for me it's just Terry and Cahill. What do you think?
Yeah, I can see, right. Of course, we're doing our predicted lineup, so it's what we think Conte's going to go with. So for me, I do agree. I think I can see him going with Cahill and Terry. Of course, we've seen that cemented in the back two during the last few games of pre-season, so it looks as if he's favoured towards that. Although, of course, it's worth noting we don't really have much more options with Zuma out injured. So yeah, I can see him going that way. But moving on to the right back, left back spot, I'm quite worried that Ivanovic might get the nods. Aina was kind of a little bit hit and miss. Like, I think he broke through quite early on during our pre-season, and everyone was ranting and raving about what a brilliant youngster he is. And I believe he is. He's very physically built for his age. He's very quick, and he's got bags full of potential. But then against Real Madrid, we started to see a few of his flaws. In fact, even against Liverpool, there were a few questionable moments, but especially against Real Madrid and Marc and Marcelo. Now, I think it's important not to go over the top about him. Some people are just jumping on this bandwagon of now he's finished, we can't use him. For me, it lies somewhere in the middle. He's not quite ready to be a week in, week out starter, but he certainly should be good enough for a rotation player. But then again, the question is, is it better to go with someone with more pace when we're playing against a team with electric wingers such as West Ham? And of course, they're going to be really exploiting any weakness we have. And I feel like maybe Ivanovic and his lack of pace might get a little bit torn to shreds if he was put in right back. So for you, who would you go with at right back?
Well, for me, I would definitely go with Aina. Now, before, I think I've got some points for this. Last year, I mean, you've got that point of the midfield. Now, there's going to be so much pace in the game. Aina has that pace. Unfortunately, Ivanovic just does not have that pace anymore. He seems to struggle against players like that, like Ayew last season, first game. But he was just running past Ivanovic like there was no one there. Like, for me, definitely, I would go for Aina. Obviously, it's not going to be for me. It's not week in week out player. But for me, I definitely think this experience as a Premier League show him the trust that he can actually play against big teams. Well, not big teams, but big games. These are games that we need to be winning. So I think if you give him that trust, he's a youngster, and I think it'll only make him better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, especially because, you're not going to be coming up against Marcelo week in, week out. But in saying that, he still will have a tough job. But I feel like, his ability might compensate for the things he lacks in terms of, mental defending like position and stuff. Hopefully he can get himself out of bother, and if he has the experience of John Terry and Gale alongside him, hopefully I can just see it going slightly better for Aina than Ivanovic. Although really, I think we desperately need a little bit of reinforcements in that area. But I want to ask you before we move on to left back, what formation we're going with here, because of course that's a big talking point of tomorrow's game. We've seen a 4 at the back implemented all through pre-season, so I'm assuming it's 4 at the back. But from there forth, where are we going?
For me, I think he will. Well, for me, I would actually go 4-3-2-1, but I don't think he's going to go with that. I think he's going to go with a 4-1-4-1. Yeah, I just think you know, he want. Well, obviously, I'm going to get into the midfield, but for me, before we get into the midfield, I think Aina at right back for me, and Azpilicueta.
Yeah, well, Azpilicueta has to start. We all know that for sure.
I think, you know, Azpilicueta doesn't have a problem with playing left back. We saw that in the title-winning team, and he doesn't have a problem. Obviously, he prefers right back, but if it means Aina is going to get that, he's going to play. I think Aina we can't just push him out at left back. I think, you know, Aina
has played left back during pre-season a little bit. Aina has, so he is quite versatile. I think that's very beneficial when Azpilicueta and Aina can both play either left back or right back. But if Ivanovic starts, he'll be starting right back, and Azpilicueta starts left back. And if Aina starts, I think he'll start at left back just to give Azpilicueta, you know, the best possible start, because of course he is the better player.
Yeah, I'm going to go off topic a bit, but I think wouldn't it be great if we got Ricardo Rodriguez? Wouldn't, right?
Oh, don't even get me started on Rodriguez. I'm like such a big fan. I think the price tag 25 million is reported to be his buy close. Now, the only hitch in this is I think that might only apply to Champions League clubs, although I'm not 100% sure on that. But I know that was the case with Kante, and that's why we didn't pay his initial buyout clause, which I believe again was 25 million. We paid 32. But in saying that, yeah, I'd love Rodriguez. The only reason I can't see this happening is because he's a very attack-of wing back, and Conte shipped Baba Rahman out on loan, and he said to Baba, the reason you're going out is because I don't want attacking wing backs. So if he brought in Rodriguez, it might slightly contradict him, but in saying that, Rodriguez is top quality, and I'd really love him in the Chelsea squad.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. No, but I would definitely love him. With the market today, I think 25 million is just what a price that is. Now, I think midfield, centre defending mid, you know, we could have Mikel, but then when you've got, I'm kidding, but when you have got Kante, just what a player, 32 million. Hopefully we can see what he really does, what he did for Leicester last season tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I think especially with all that flair, he's just going to be the perfect player. You couldn't think of a better player to come in and just snuff out all the danger. And the guy's just got so much stamina. You know that he'll play the whole 90 minutes, and he just won't look phased by it at all. And I think in that one, if we're going a 4-1-4-1, it has to be Kante. Of course, we did see him do that in Chelsea's last pre-season game, and we did end up conceding 2 goals, which is a little bit annoying. But I think now the players will be better drills, and I think if Kante just sticks to his position, and because he was allowed to roam up, although I think that was a little bit more of just experimental from Kante, because when Kante wasn't going up and bringing energy forward, we were actually okay. It was only whenever he drifted out of position, and the only reason he drifted out of position is because we all assumed Matic would be there to snuff out the danger, but he didn't have a great game. But certainly I think Kante will be really brilliant in the West Ham game.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing I'm really worried about. Kante, you know, we saw him get out of position a lot, and you know, that's how we kind of lost. You know, they scored the goals. So I'm really hoping he doesn't do that. That's why, you know, a couple of my mates actually suggested we play Matic. You know, that could work out. Maybe play Kante in a more centre mid, more attacking role. But no, for me, definitely, I'm going to put him as a centre defending mid. You know, do the dirty work, as most people say. Now, we're going to go to the left mid and right mid, and I think left mid there's no other choice. You know, Eden Hazard, future Messi, future Ronaldo, whatever you want to call him, definitely for me.
Of course, and I completely agree. He's had a very, very good pre-season this year, and he just looks a lot fitter as well. And there's been a lot of comments coming out by him, especially saying how Chelsea needs to fight for the title and how he wants to be, you know, one of the best players in the world, and just encouraging stuff. And he actually said, you know, I don't want to leave Chelsea not being liked. I want to leave Chelsea with having one of my best seasons. Of course, if Hazard plays at 50% and remains at Chelsea for the rest of his career, I'll be happy with that. But nonetheless, let's hope he replicates the season he had a couple of years ago. And I really feel like this is the best we've seen him so far, certainly over the last year. So let's hope he can push forward. And I'd actually predict he's going to score a couple of goals, but I'm sure we'll get on to that a little bit later.
Yeah, for me, I think he's crucial for this season. I think him being fit would have been the difference of us getting 10th and maybe even Europa League. I think
yeah,
such an important player, that one player that could just, it's magic pretty much. No, but definitely, you know, I don't think we can argue with that. Left mid, Hazard. Now, you know, right mid, I have got, you know, we could go for Willian. Now, obviously, our player of the year. But, you know, he has kind of had some hiccups in pre-seasons, some misplaced passes. I'm not too sure. For me, I'm definitely going to go with Willian. But I think that's what Conte will go with as well. But we do have the choices. Maybe we could play Pedro at right mid, or, you know, Cuadrado. I'm a big fan of Cuadrado. But we do have the choices. What do you think? I'm thinking, I'm not too sure. For me, it's Willian. Definitely.
Well, Willian, of course, was, you know, I believe he was our player of the year last year, and he was absolutely electric. But he did dip in form, and he never really recovered that form. He just, you know, he went downhill, and now during pre-season, he certainly hasn't been one of our best players, which is quite worrying. I don't really want to criticize him too much because he was carrying the team for a lot of last year. He was our hidden hazard for the first half of the season. So of course, there's going to be that dip in form. For me, I would rest him. I don't think Conte will. I think Conte will start Willian. But I would start Cuadrado because he's looked very promising. Or someone who we haven't given a shout to. I believe Victor Moses is still at the club and previously played for West Ham last year. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, Victor Moses. It's that one player that plays really good at preseason and then we just load him out. But no, for me, definitely I would keep him. The thing is, we have got a lot of options at right mid and left mid. I don't really think he's going to get a chance. To be honest, I think, you know, I think just Cuadrado is too good for him just to, you know, play Moses instead. Obviously, Moses is a great player, but I mean, Cuadrado and, you know, obviously we've got Pedro. But no, I think if we can let Moses play a couple of games, see what he can do in the big levels, you know, in the stronger teams, not just in preseason. Maybe if we can play and we have that Carling Cup game or, you know, against Burnley, then definitely maybe we could see what he can do and if he's really worth trying out. Now, no, yeah, you had something to say before?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd give him till January and loan him out, but it just makes you think, what does the guy have to do to get into the squad? Because, you know, year in, year out, he's played brilliant during pre-season.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think he does deserve that chance. Definitely half a season at least to try him out, maybe in the less competitive games, like not the Man Uniteds and Cities, of course, but I'm thinking maybe, you know, the lower teams, we've got Burnley at home, not too far away, so maybe we can try him out there. And, you know, really experiment, see what he's good at and if he's really worth keeping. Now, I'm going to go to centre mids. Now, I think, you know, this is a player that's been linked to Juve. Instead of Matic, and that is Fabregas. For me, no way should we be selling Fabregas. I think he's such an important player. He's so good on the ball. Those through passes to Diego Costa. They actually, if anyone watched the Premier League not too long ago, well, maybe like 4 years ago, it kind of reminds me of that through ball Son would always do to Van Persie. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I want to just shed a little bit of hope on the whole transfer front regarding Fabregas. This will not happen. I'm like so certain it won't happen for so many reasons. Firstly, Fabregas has come to the end of his career. I believe he's 20 at 29 and will represent absolutely no set-on value whatsoever. Secondly, Chelsea are in a very strong position here. Fabregas, I believe, has about 3 years left in his contract. And then on top of that, you know, Juventus, they don't really need to reinvest in a creative player. They lost Pogba, and Pogba was more just a powerhouse. So really, I don't see this happening. Why would Fabregas want to leave Chelsea? Let's remember, he came back and chose Chelsea because Chelsea are a London club and he likes London. So why would he go off to Italy, you know? So firstly, I just want to discount that. But in terms of him starting the game, I think he has to. He's our most creative player. He's our most consistent player. I know he dips around Christmas time, but you know what? It's not Christmas time yet, so let's get the most out of him at the start. And I think, of course, he has to start for me. Yeah.
Well, I really hope that's what will happen. Same with you. I don't think he's going to go to Roma, but not Roma, sorry, Juve. But yeah, no, I think the thing was, definitely, I think he's such an important player for the team, and for some reason, I don't think Conte is such a big fan. But no, I do think he will play. Hopefully, he does. Now, so we're putting Fabregas centre mid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the second centre mid. Now, this is a bit of a debate. We could play Matic. Now, for me, I'm not a fan of Matic at the centre mid role. I think he's the centre defending mid. But we have got Kante, so definitely for me, Matic won't be playing tomorrow. And something a bit interesting for me, I think Oscar, he could play. I really do like him as in a more deep role. I think he could be, that player like Nangolan that we were looking for. It really reminds me of him. I think he could do really well at centre mid.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good shout. One thing that I would like to mention, whenever Conte was managing Juventus, he had Pirlo in that deep role, in that one, if you would like, although it was, I think, a three at the back, but in that deeper role, he had Pirlo. And then he had Vidal and Pogba protecting Pirlo. So maybe we could see Fabregas in that one and Matic and Kante in that two. But that's slightly off topic. For that other centre mid role, for me, there's no one that's really jumping off the page for me because Chalobah and Loftus-Cheek, we know they both have incredible talent, but they're not quite there for week in, week out starters. Now, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind an experiment, but maybe not the very first day of the season. Matic, I just don't think has proven his worth. Like, I really hope Conte brings him back to his best because he was just as good in terms of CDM for Chelsea 2 years ago as Conte was last year for Leicester. Maybe not in terms of stamina, but just in terms of how valuable he was to the team and the job that he did. But for me, I suppose we should probably go with Oscar because Conte really does act like two CDMs. He acts like a Mikel and a Matic combined with more energy, I suppose. So I think we could get away with playing another creative player, and I agree with you. Oscar does certainly look a lot more impressive when he's a little bit deeper and he has more space.
Yes, now definitely, I would give a shout normally to, as you said, Chalobah and Loftus-Cheek, but definitely not in the first game when it's such an important game, and hopefully we do get the win. But no, I do actually want to talk about. Let's not talk about the lineup for 1 second. I really think, a lot of Chelsea fans have kind of disagreed and not really. A lot of Chelsea fans think we should loan out Loftus-Cheek. Now, for me, that's a big mistake. I really think this could be his breakout season. Same thing with Chalobah. For me, Loftus-Cheek he's such a great player in my opinion. And maybe he hasn't had the best preseason. For me, what is he doing up front?
Yeah, I know. I think firstly, going back to should we loan them out, I think if it was any other team but Chelsea, we should loan them out. But unfortunately, we are Chelsea, and once you get loaned out, you just don't go. I think they just ship them off to like an abandoned island or something and leave them to die. No, for me, Loftus-Cheek, it depends where he's loaned to. If he's loaned to another Premier League club where we know he's going to start, then possibly, but it just would be such a shame because it looked like he was going to break through last year, and he did to an extent. But each manager that comes in seems to be pushing him further and further up the pitch. We saw him start his career around CDM. He was criticised for his lack of work rates and per tackling. I actually like him in the CDM role. I think he puts in a great tackle whenever his mind's focused. And then he was pushed more to a centre mid cam. I felt he's not quite nimble enough to be that creative playmaker. And now we've seen him play up front, and I just don't understand the logic. Maybe Conte was trying to send a message to the board to buy another striker. But I don't know. I mean, you can't expect a guy who's played his trade in the midfield to magically transform into a striker over 3 preseason games. And even if he scored a couple of goals, it's not like he's going to start in front of Costa anyways. So I thought that was completely counterproductive. And if he can't be given a spot to hold down and make his own, how do we expect him to progress? Now, in terms of Chalobah, I think he might be a little bit more of the candidate to go out and loan. But in saying that, he's looked more impressive for me than Loftus-Cheek during pre-season. It is worth noting he's actually been played in one position. But nevertheless, him and Kante could be a very interesting partnership. And I think now's the time maybe to have a few youth players as cover, now that we've brought in key players such as Kante. So, I mean, what's your opinion on this?
Yes, no, definitely. I think, I think Loftus-Cheek, yeah, as you said, it's such a shame. I think he could have been, still, he can be such a great player. I think he reminds me a lot of Pogba, maybe, or I don't know, far predictions, but I think maybe like that Yaya Toure sort of role. He does remind me of that big player who can just control the game. I don't know. I don't know what Conte is thinking. Maybe he could play and he could not. I just don't want to see him go out just loan to a club like Betis or anything like that. I want to delete Betis as a club in general. But no, it just seems like, you know, every loan player, we just keep loaning him out without even thinking about it. Same thing, I've got to say, Ake, I think definitely we had that left back. That's what we needed. We needed a left back. He's been solid for Watford, and we just loan him out. It doesn't make any sense for me. No, but I really, it's a shame if we do loan out. If we do loan out Loftus-Cheek, it really would be a shame. Maybe if it was to a Premier League club and he is starting week in, week out, then maybe that could work. But no, generally I do want him to. I want him to stay and start playing some more games. Now with Chalobah, he is kind of getting on. People kind of forget he is 21. I think he's almost 22 years old, and you know, he's almost the age of Oscar. People are forgetting he's not a youngster anymore. I think. He hasn't had a brilliant preseason. He's shown what he can do. Do I think he's going to start? No, I don't. I really don't. I'm going to be honest. Does he have the ability to start? Yes, I do think he can start maybe in the weaker games. As I said, maybe like try him out just like we tried out with Moses. Like I said, we should try it with Moses, maybe against Burnley or teams like that. But generally, those two players, I don't think. You know, I think we've already set the players. We've got Kante, Matic, and Fabregas. Maybe Oscar in a deeper role as well.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so last position, striker. Can we really debate? Obviously, we have got Michi as but not definitely Diego Costa up front for me.
Yeah, I think something we haven't really seen during preseason, bar maybe the first game when he went crazy at I think a defender. We haven't really seen Costa get riled up so far, and you can't really blame him for this because preseason, you know, obviously not as competitive and there's not enough. Sometimes the stadiums can be quite empty. But I think now, certainly in a derby, Costa can really get himself riled up, and he can be so essential to the team. I am very excited to see Michi, but in saying that, I think obviously the first game is so important. We've already seen the reigning champions Leicester lose their first game, and you know it's so important to get those first 3 points on the board, especially against such a difficult team such as West Ham. And like you said, you know, we're going to need someone physical to battle the Ogbonas, and I think Costa is certainly that guy.
Yeah, so obviously, you know, we haven't seen Costa at his best yet in preseason. I don't think he's had. Well, obviously, he did have that back injury. But I really am hoping Conte could maybe speak to him and get him worked up for the game. And hopefully we see the Costa we know and love. I'm thinking Michi, that's a good point. I do think he is a great player, Michi. But obviously I don't think he's going to be first choice. But what do you think about that, Michi? I think he's a great player, but not yet first choice. Maybe I don't think he's good enough to be starting. I don't know. I'm really not too sure about that.
Well, he of course came from League One, and in terms of top goal scorers, it was Zlatan, Lacazette, and I believe Michi was third. So he is, you know, he's done quite well for himself, and he's a very young player, very physically built, low centre of gravity, and he's got a lot of potential. But the one thing that I was a little bit disappointed with during pre-season is he didn't get a goal. Now, of course, Chelsea played a game behind closed doors where he actually got 2, but Mikel scored in that game, so I think that tells you all you need to know about the competition. No, he's certainly got a lot of potential. But for me, I can't see him starting games just yet. But he seems like a really nice guy, and he's always very active on Twitter. And I'm very happy that he chose Chelsea.
I love Twitter account. But he actually got suspended not too long ago. But yeah, anyways, that has been the squad lineup. Now, obviously, I think we're going to talk about injuries for who can't play, and I think most of the injuries are for West Ham. We haven't got to play against Aaron Cresswell. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I have no idea what Cresswell has done last season. Apparently, he's been solid, but no, I've never actually watched him play. Same with West Ham. I haven't really seen them play, but you know, they're going to get some youngsters in. Obviously, I have highlighted the players I think will do well. Generally, I do think it's going to be a hard game, but I do think we could win. Now, let's get on to score prediction. So go ahead, you can start with a score prediction.
Score predictions, I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea with Eden Hazard getting 2 and Diego Costa getting 1 and Andy Carroll getting 1 because he always scores against us. So,
yeah, I'm actually going to agree with you on that one. I do think it's going to be 3-1. First of all, I do think for some reason I don't see Costa scoring. I think he's not gotten into that. He's not himself in my for my just. I think he has played well against Werder Bremen, but I don't think. I think it's going to take him maybe a game or two, and then he might just start scoring goals every game. But definitely for me, I'm going to go 2 goals for Eden Hazard, and maybe a bit of a shock, but I think Kante might even get a debut goal.
Yeah, that's a
Score
good
prediction, I know, but I think he might, want to show his worth. Maybe come up last minute goal or something like that. I don't know. It could be anyone. I think definitely 2 goals for Haaland. Now I think I'm gonna go with A just because he loves scoring against us, doesn't he?
Yeah, agreed. And just going back to Costa very quickly, I think it's worth noting that he is going to be a lot fitter than he was last season. He came back pretty fat, in all honesty, last year. But Conte's got the double training sessions going as we've saw quite widely reported. And something I also want to touch upon, something I noticed watching Costa during preseason, and it's something that it only struck me suddenly, and I was like, oh yeah, he stopped doing that. He's actually been central. And, we saw him drift out wide so much last season, and it really frustrated me. I kept seeing him on the wings, and, I just want him in that box because that's where he's most dangerous. In fact, I can't even remember Diego Costa scoring a goal outside the box. So seeing him play more central, we know he's going to, be a threat if nothing else. And I think in the high intensity of the Premier League, it's so different to preseason games. Of course, it will take a couple of games to get into, but all you need is, a strong tackle to go in, Diego Costa yell at the referee, whole fans behind him, and it's just a new Diego.
Yes, obviously. Now, I think that's all I have to talk about today. Yeah, I think. Do you have anything to add?
No, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and of course, leave down your score predictions. And if you have enough effort, the whole squad would be great as well. We'd be very interested to read that. And once again, just come across to my channel if you guys want to check out Chelsea transfer daily videos and much more.
Yeah, so guys, definitely comment. I'd love to interact with you guys. Definitely, again, as Blue Lion said, go check him out. He will be in the description below. You should definitely check him out. He's way more consistent. But no, like lads, I actually do want to add this in. We've tried streaming before. For some reason, my power just decided to shut off. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. I will try and be more consistent. But anyways, that's been the live stream. I hope you guys did enjoy.
And let us know if you want this to continue as well. If you guys want this to happen again, drop a comment below, and of course we'll revisit it. Yes,
obviously we will. If you guys do enjoy. So yeah, that's it, guys. Please do leave your squads in the comments below. Leave maybe what you think the game will be. Please just comment what you think in the comments below. That would be great. And yeah, check out Blue Lions, and I'll see you guys next time. Come on, you Blues.